Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headache stack. Restlessness to hell and back.
Have foldables finally become perfect? The OPPO Find N6 is here, but should you buy it over the older Find N5? I grabbed the 512GB retail version for around 11,000 yuan, 1,215 pounds, and today I'll show you exactly how it performs in real-world use. The biggest upgrade? The crease. It looks seriously impressive, but once you compare everything else, the gap isn't as huge as you'd expect, especially when the Find N5 is now selling for about half the price on the used market. In this video, we'll compare both OPPO foldables side by side, check every important upgrade, compare the user experience, and answer the big question: is the cheaper Find N5 still the smarter buy, or is the nearly crease-free Find N6 worth the extra money? Big thanks to my tech partner over in China for providing this footage. I really appreciate the support in making this video happen. Hey everyone, Stella here from Techie Street. If you're into staying updated with the newest gadgets, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our latest tech content. Let's start with the in-hand feel. Surprisingly, the Find N6 isn't any thinner. Just like the N5, it's 8.93mm folded and 4.21mm unfolded, although OPPO has slightly refined the overall dimensions. Weight drops from 229 grams to around 225 grams, just 4 grams lighter, so you won't really notice it. Both phones feel great, but the N6 feels a little more premium. This gold-orange finish is gorgeous, with frosted glass, a matte gold frame, and excellent build quality. Since the Find N5 is no longer sold new, this is a 95% A-grade second-hand unit from Zhuanzhuan. Even so, it's in fantastic condition. The purple frosted glass and metal frame still look premium and feel like an excellent value. Power on the N6 and another upgrade becomes obvious. The cover display bezels are slimmer on all 4 sides. Open the phone, and the inner display bezels are also noticeably smaller. OPPO says the cover screen has a slightly better screen-to-body ratio, and honestly, it gives the N6 a more premium look. Now for the biggest highlight, the inner display crease. Looking straight at it, it's almost impossible to see. Even from an angle, it's incredibly hard to spot. Yes, under certain lighting or reflections, you can still see it, but during normal use with the display on, it's basically invisible. Keep in mind, I've only used it for a few weeks, so long-term durability is still unknown. Even so, this is easily the shallowest crease I've seen on any foldable phone. OPPO wasn't exaggerating. Compared side by side, the N6 clearly improves crease control. That said, the N5 was already one of the industry's best. I've used the N5 for a long time, and its crease has held up extremely well. While watching videos, it's very difficult to notice the fold. It's still a top-tier foldable, even if it's no longer the absolute leader. And that's the key difference. Being one of the best isn't always the best. Right now, before newer rivals arrive, the N6 has the best crease control I've personally seen on a mass-produced large foldable. Outside of the crease, the displays are almost identical. Both feature an 8.12-inch inner display, a 6.62-inch outer display, and nearly the same resolution. The Find N5 already nailed the aspect ratio. The cover display feels like a normal phone for typing, while unfolding gives you a much bigger screen for videos and multitasking. With both displays turned on, the crease advantage becomes much harder to notice. Whether you're watching movies or scrolling short videos, the real-world difference is tiny. Now let's talk performance. The N6 upgrades from the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 to the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, while storage moves from UFS 4.0 to UFS 4.1. But here's the surprise: the Gen 5 chip isn't a massive leap. Most of the gains come from higher clock speeds and increased power, rather than a huge architectural upgrade. That means real-world gaming feels almost the same. The Find N5 is already a flagship performer, and both phones handle League of Legends Mobile, PUBG Mobile, and other popular games with ease. And honestly, gaming on that huge foldable display is where these phones really shine. That said, remember these are ultra-thin foldables, not gaming phones with massive cooling systems. Push them hard for long gaming sessions, and they still can't match the sustained performance of traditional flagship phones. Honestly, the bigger issue is game optimization. Developers still haven't fully taken advantage of these large foldable screens with higher frame rates or better graphics. That's a missed opportunity. For games like League of Legends Mobile, though, performance is already excellent. Most users will notice the better display and battery life far more than the new processor. In fact, the battery upgrade feels like the bigger improvement. The Find N6 boosts battery capacity from 5,600 mAh to 6,000 mAh, fitting a larger battery into the same thin body while making the phone lighter is seriously impressive. Since the new chipset isn't dramatically more efficient, that extra 400 mAh gives you noticeably longer battery life. The Find N5 already lasts all day, but if you're buying one used, I'd suggest choosing a unit with at least 90% battery health. Charging is also solid, with 80-watt wired and 50-watt wireless support. Now, let's move to the cameras, arguably the biggest upgrade after the crease. The Find N5 already takes great photos for a foldable, but the N6 steps things up with a 200-megapixel main camera, plus 50-megapixel telephoto, 50-megapixel ultra-wide, and a spectral sensor. Overall, image quality is on par with or even better than many flagship phones around the 4,000 yuan range. It won't beat ultra phones with huge 1-inch sensors, but for everyday photography, it's seriously impressive, especially considering the compact camera bump. If photography is your #1 priority, I'd still recommend looking at a used OPPO Find X7 Ultra. Back to the N6, both selfie cameras jump from 8 megapixels to 20 megapixels, making selfies and video recording noticeably better. Overall, the camera upgrade feels complete. If you shoot portraits, night scenes, or travel photos, the N6 has a clear advantage. The ultra-wide camera alone jumps from 8 megapixels to 50 megapixels, which is a massive improvement. Just look at the sample photos. The difference is easy to see. But if you mostly take casual photos, the Find N5 is still more than good enough. It continues to deliver excellent everyday images and even shares the same 1.156-inch main sensor. So yes, the N6 almost upgrades every part of the camera system. But if you rarely shoot at night, use ultra-wide, or rely on the selfie camera, the real-world difference won't feel as dramatic as the specs suggest. Now, let's talk durability. The Find N5 already offers IPX6, IPX8, and IPX9 water resistance, which is excellent for a foldable. But notice the X. That means there's no official dust protection, and dust is often a bigger concern than water for foldable hinges. The N6 fixes that with IP56, IP58, and IP59, adding both water and dust resistance. It won't make the phone indestructible, but it definitely gives you more confidence. OPPO has redesigned the structure to be flatter and stronger, making the N6 feel even more reliable for long-term daily use. Beyond that, the remaining hardware differences are fairly small. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments. So what's really new? Two things stand out most: the nearly invisible crease and the upgraded cameras. The crease is mostly an emotional upgrade. It makes the phone look and feel more futuristic. The cameras, however, deliver real benefits you'll notice every day. So, which one should you buy? If you already own a Find N5 and your budget is limited, I wouldn't rush to upgrade. Anyone who's used foldables knows crease control is already excellent across brands like OPPO, Huawei, Vivo, and Samsung. Today, the bigger challenge isn't the crease, it's how well apps are optimized for foldable screens. Think of the crease like smartphone bezels. A thinner bezel looks nicer, but it doesn't completely change the experience. The same goes for the N6. A smaller crease won't transform daily use, but it does make the phone feel more premium and gives you that latest tech feeling. Even today, the Find N5 remains one of the most polished foldables you can buy. If this is your first foldable and your budget allows it, the N6 delivers an outstanding experience. My only concern is the price.
The 256GB model starts at 9,999 yuan, and most buyers in 2026 will probably want the 512GB version, which costs even more. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this comparison, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!